All right, so I wanted to address something that came up at an open house over the weekend.
Mhm.
There was a couple coming in, and we were talking about the home buying process and what that looks like for them. And they mentioned that they did not want to speak to a lender because they've done their online mortgage calculator. And I was
Yeah.
trying to explain to them how that may not be completely accurate. So if
Mhm.
you as a professional could tell us why these online mortgage calculators are just not reliable and why it's beneficial to speak to an actual lender.
Yeah, yeah. They're so off. And I get this all the time too. So usually the online calculators, for one, they're basing it on a certain rate. So that's fine for your averages, but honestly, there's more than 30 things that go into the rate. So what is your down payment? That you can calculate, but they don't know anything for debt to income ratio. How much do you have in reserves? Where do you have those reserves at? What's your income? Do you have base income? Do you have RSU income? Is it able to be used? Is it not? But there, I will stop myself there. But it's one of those things where you can use averages. So a lot of times people are just looking on what the news is showing or what lenders are showing online for the rate. And usually they're discounting that a lot because it's sponsored. They want to get calls. So most of the time people will have a fictitious payment that is way lower than it really is going to be. So that's the bad thing. Number one is they need to be realistic and actually talk to a professional to have them do a full pre-approval so they can give an accurate rate quote. So that's number one. The second thing that I see is the taxes. Oh my goodness, the taxes are so off. And so a lot of times those calculators, even if you put in, here's the state that I'm buying in, the city, the county, here's my credit score, it honestly doesn't do anything. It's literally just a feel good button. So they're using averages typically. So of course, in the Bay Area here, we're in a high cost area. Our taxes are typically higher. So on average for pre-approvals, we usually base it on about 1.25. Some areas could be 1.3 if there's a mellow ruse or a special tax assessment. So that's going to be a lot higher than what online typically shows. I mean, the national average, you have some states that, Texas, for example, is more expensive. So if you have people moving from California out of state, it could be a lot more than what they're preparing, and it's a lot more. California, I just noticed that a lot of times the online calculators are averaging about 0.8 sometimes because a lot of the states are lower. So you can have really drastic taxes. And the insurance, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even tell you, it is hard enough just to get an insurance company to insure in California right now in general,
Right.
let alone those insurance rates are not accurate. So, and especially if you're buying, I mean, there's some areas even just right outside of Santa Clara County, and some even in Santa Clara County that are considered a national disaster area that need extra insurance.
Mhm.
So the insurance rates are just a lot higher. So
Yeah.
those are things, that's why people can have an expectation and then they'll wait last minute. Oh, I know roughly what my payment's going to be. So then they go looking for that price zone, then
Yeah.
get in a contract, then realize what the payment really is and they fall out.
Yeah.
So it's just a detriment. Yeah,
Yeah,
get a
there's
professional opinion.
nothing more disappointing than somebody going out, falling in love with a home, and then realizing that
Yeah,
they just can't afford that home or it's way out of their means. So
yeah,
I think the important thing here is to talk to a
mhm,
professional, make sure they can afford the home and they're living
yeah,
comfortably within their means, and then go out,
yeah.
shop, and find their dream home.
Mhm.
That.
And
So
even the shock value too, because a lot of times when we pre-approve people, they could afford the payment, but because they've been shopping, the expectation is that it's X amount. So when they finally find that home and they make an offer and then they find out the payment's way higher, you need to react fast in this market.
yeah,
It's like, are you making an offer? Do you respond to the counter offer or do you not? And a lot of people back out because it's so shocking. And
yeah,
then when it settles down and they get that full pre-approval and they realize they're like, we should have just gone for that house that we fell in love with. So
mhm,
ultimately people do find that comfort zone, but people underestimate the emotional reaction that they go through when they're home shopping and looking at these numbers.
yeah,
So it does take a little bit of, and that's why the sooner you can get pre-approved, the better, because you can mentally deal with the numbers, right? People are not expecting the numbers that come with your average purchase price in the Bay Area now is 2 million.
yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
crazy.
your payment's going to be
Yeah,
high.
yeah, exactly.
Needs time to digest.
Yeah, exactly. Take some time, take it in.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, definitely that you can never get pre-approved too soon. We work with you to make sure that you have accurate numbers because we want no surprises. We will educate you on the market. And that way you can find the house that you want. You're comfortable with that. And you can beat out everybody else that's shocked by the numbers.
Right.
And literally, I'm kind of joking about that, but not really because
Yeah.
that's truth.
I mean,
Yeah.
you heard it here this weekend. People coming
Yeah.
in shopping with a mortgage calculator online. So
Yeah.
let's get you ahead of
Exactly.
the curve.
Yeah, exactly.